It's Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. So we continue to watch this crazy volatility on Wall Street, and we continue to watch these bubbles expand. And this bubble continues to get bigger. As I said yesterday, I would not doubt that we would see markets surge back today. And I believe that it's full steam ahead for these markets because the Fed is not going to let them fail. So what was the good news today that sent markets soaring? We saw the Dow Jones up 439 points today, NASDAQ up 293 points today, gold, silver, cryptos all up. What made the markets come back today? Was it oil being bid up? Was it the weaker dollar? I believe it was the Federal Reserve, the puppet master pulling the strings behind the scenes. That's why the markets were back up today. That's why these markets are surging. That's why I believe that they've got a ways to go. But I do believe wholeheartedly that we are going to see some problems in October. That's my personal opinion. But right now, we are watching the puppet master, the Fed, pull the strings behind the scenes. This economic melt-up that we've been witnessing is epic, no doubt about it. It's the biggest bubble. And as Peter Schiff says, it's not going to die easy. Every time this market begins to get into trouble, what happens? The Fed steps right in. The Fed saves the day. These markets are in huge trouble because look at what is happening to the U.S. economy, what is happening to jobs, manufacturing, production, what is about to happen in the housing sector, what is happening right now currently in commercial real estate, what's happening in retail. And they can slice and dice these numbers all they want, but every one of you knows something is very wrong here. Every time you go to your local mall, you go to the store, you drive into town, you see exactly what I'm seeing for the most part. There are exceptions to the rule, but I can tell you here in Southern California, we are being plagued with a homeless epidemic. We're being plagued with vacant buildings, commercial buildings empty, lots of people without jobs. That's what I'm seeing here in Southern California. Now, I know that there are people in the comments down below saying things are doing quite well in their area, and God bless you if they are. You're very blessed. But there are a lot of people also saying they're seeing the same things. Lots of vacant buildings, businesses permanently being shut down, homeless everywhere. And you're just looking at cities now just eroding, decaying, graffiti, run down, dirty. And we're going to see a lot more of this as this economy implodes. Cities and municipalities, where are they going to get the tax money from when more of these big retailers close up? They're not getting the tax revenue. Unfortunately, they're going to be taxing you and I to make up the differences. The wealthy are leaving many states like Illinois, New Jersey, New York, California to avoid this wealth tax. And so who's going to be left on the hook? It's going to be the people who remain behind, like you and I. And I cannot wait for the day that I get out of the state of California, I can tell you that. But I do believe that the end has already started, but we have yet to see how bad this is going to get. I was reading an article today on The Hill. U.S. budget deficit hits record $3 trillion. So what else could make the markets go up today? When you have news like this, budget deficit, $3 trillion, the Fed is holding and propping everything up at this point. It is a house of cards, no doubt about it. But the debt and the deficits, the federal budget deficit hit $3 trillion in August. We still have another month to go before the end of the fiscal year. And they're predicting that's going to be another $300 billion. This figure amounts to $1.9 trillion more than the same period last year. So as we're being told that The stock market is booming. The economy is bouncing back. Everybody's going back to work. Things have never been better. Why do we have all this debt? Why do we have these massive deficits? If things are so good, how come none of this is being paid down? It is just expanding because we must create massive amounts of debt to keep this whole illusion alive and going forward. And the amount of inflation that this is going to cost, the ramifications down the road here are going to be absolutely horrific. The Fed now owns nearly 1/3 of all U.S. mortgages, nearly $7 trillion in securities, $2 trillion in mortgages. You talk about a wealth transfer. You're witnessing the biggest wealth transfer in world history taking place right before your very eyes. So while people watch the reality TV, watch their cartoons, play their video games, possibly even watching football. I don't know who would even support such a thing. But while people are looking over there, what's happening right here is the biggest wealth transfer in world history. Buying securities has pushed mortgage rates lower, with the average 30-year rate falling to 2.9% as of last week. Morgan Stanley analysts pointed out in late March that buying was running 8 times the pace seen in prior episodes of the Fed's purchasing under programs known as quantitative easing, or QE. The Fed will own 34% of the mortgage universe by the end of this year. I mean, they're buying everything, right? They're going to be the lender and buyer of last resort. This is a massive wealth transfer, and you better be protecting yourself right now. If you have any wealth at all, please be protecting it. More than half of households in 4 of the largest U.S. cities struggle financially during this recession. Households, 53% of New York households, 56% of Los Angeles households, 50% of Chicago households, and 63% of Houston households reported facing serious financial problems, including depleted savings, problems paying credit cards, and affording medical bills. Yet, markets surged today. The puppet master is alive and well. Article on The Hedge today. Druckenmiller slams absolute raging mania in stocks, sees inflation hitting 10%. Hedge fund legend Stanley Druckenmiller. Everybody loves a party. This is what he says. Everybody loves a party, but inevitably, after a big party, there's a hangover. Right now, we are on an absolute raging mania, says Druckenmiller, on the market environment. The hangover is coming, but people continue to party. There is, in most people's eyes, no threat. They see nothing but a recovery coming to America based on nothing. But many people are drinking the Kool-Aid, ladies and gentlemen. Many of these people believe that they're going to return to a job. They believe that everything is going to recover 100%. They believe that everything is going to be okay when it is not going to be okay. Look at the bellwethers that are taking place that I'm reading to you today throughout many news articles. Take a look right out your own windows of what's happening in your cities, in your states. The massive debt and deficits right here in the U.S. This government is bankrupted. Most of our big cities are bankrupted. Our pensions are bankrupted. This is not going to end well for most people. It's going to end very, very badly. The Hedge today, New York indoor dining to resume September 30th. And I bring this article up because we see so much of this. We hear about things reopening, but they're only going to reopen their indoor dining capacity to 25%. Most of these restaurants are going to be done. They are absolutely doomed. As I said in a previous video, they reopened my mall, Westfield Mall, my local mall out here last week, but they're only allowing 25% capacity. How in the world does a retailer or a restaurant stay in business at 25%? let alone being shut down for 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it is, being completely shut down. But now they're going to reopen at 25%, some opening at 50%. How in the world are these businesses going to survive? The stock market is going to do what the stock market does. It cannot fail with the Fed pulling the strings. It cannot fail with all this artificial printed money. But at the same time, remember the damage that all that is doing to you and I. It is debasing our currency. It is devaluing our purchasing power. It is going to take more dollars every time we go to the grocery store, more dollars to write that rent check, more dollars to get an education. It's going to take more dollars to go to the urgent care, more dollars to buy a car, more dollars for just about everything because of the inflation that they are causing right now. So I'm going to wrap it up right here today, but I'm going to leave you with this. We're just seeing more of the same old, the same old song and dance. The Fed is going to intervene every time these markets run into trouble. These markets are 100% dependent on the Fed now, and the Fed is 100% loyal to these markets. The economy is failing. Middle class America is in very, very big trouble. Poor people in America are going to be in very, very big trouble. Wait till the food shortages begin, or wait till the hyperinflation begins and a loaf of bread is $20, $30. We're going to see food shortages one way or another, either because it's not going to be on the shelves or it's going to cost so much money most people are not going to be able to afford to purchase it. Again, people continue to just live in this party, believing the music is never going to stop. It is, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you continue to do what you're doing. Most of you watching this video are preparing daily. Most of you are wide awake. Look, it's going to get very, very, very ugly. And you are just beginning to see the warning signs. So pay attention to the warning signs because it's going to get much, much more worse than what we're seeing right now. Stock market can go to 80,000 points. Doesn't even matter because it's not going to affect you. It's not going to affect me. It's not going to affect the real U.S. economy. It's not going to affect the average consumer, the average middle class person. It's not going to affect the poor. All it is affecting is the top 1%. They're laughing all the way to the bank. You're witnessing a wealth transfer unlike we have ever seen. Be your own central bank. Be protecting your wealth. Be protecting your physical safety. Be protecting your sanity, your soul. Be walking close to God. Big things are coming. October is not that far away. I believe this is when we really take it to the next level. I believe this is when we start getting into the third and fourth inning of these events. This depression has just begun. And it's got a long way to go. And I think October is going to tell us quite a bit about what is going to be happening in the United States of America, politically, socially, and economically. Make sure you're preparing.